From the very first time that I heard,
It's football time in Tennessee.
I knew that sports would consume my life. I'm originally from Tennessee, but I grew up in Gator Country, a very hard thing to do. Despite that, my first and main love is the Tennessee Volunteers. Then, in 2023, I met a girl who worked for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I quickly fell in love with hockey. A Tampa Bay Lightning fan through and through. That same girl introduced me to women's basketball, and my life has never been the same. I even met Candace Parker. Then, in 2025, I got the opportunity to work for the Orlando Valkyries, a professional volleyball team. In my first season, they won the championship. Outside of my love for sports, I'm a dog mom, a college graduate, a sister, an aunt to many boys and a few girls, and a daughter. My love for sports led me to do this podcast, and I hope you guys will enjoy the journey just as much as I'm going to. Hello, and welcome to the Everything Sports Podcast with Tay. My name is Tay, and our very special guest today is Charlotte Crook from the Orlando Valkyries, formerly a UCF track star. Charlotte, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Tay. How are you?
I'm good. Are you excited to get this started and be the first guest?
So excited, Tay. When you asked me to do this, I was so excited. I really hope I can provide some good insight to all of you viewers and get this podcast kicked off in a really great way.
Awesome. I love to hear it. Well, first and foremost, happy birthday. And everybody else, give Charlotte a happy birthday down in the comments below, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to go ahead and just get started with our very first question. The very first question is, being from the UK, what made you decide to attend college in the US?
Yeah, so it's a pretty long story, but I basically ran for a club team called Preston Harriers, which was how I started with track and field. My dad was my coach, and one of the guys that kind of ran on my team, Jermaine, he decided to go to America, to the States, on a scholarship. This was back in around 2017, and it was kind of the first that I'd heard of it. I didn't really know that people could do that. There's not a lot of avenues for people, especially in England, to make money or to get anything out of professional sports unless you are a pro, which is very difficult. So when I heard about this opportunity, I was like, this sounds like the perfect one for me. Went straight to my dad, who was my coach, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go to America. I want to go on scholarship, and here I am.
Okay, so to kind of follow up with that,
Yeah.
How did you choose UCF? Was there other schools that were in the running, or was UCF always where you wanted to go?
Yeah, so the way that kind of applying and scholarships work in America, especially when you're an international, is it's just throwing out a bunch of darts and hopefully one hits bullseye. So we were just like mass sending out emails to everyone, seeing who got back to us, what coaches were interested. And the great thing about track and field is if you're fast, you're going to get a response. If you're not, you're not. It's not very political. Your times prove pretty much everything. So the people that wanted me, the people that thought they could work with me with my speed, my stamina, whatever it was, they responded back. There was a couple schools that I was flirting with, kind of going to, but UCF kind of came in last minute. And I mean, it was Orlando, it was Disney, it was SeaWorld, it was everything that I wanted. It was warm, there was palm trees, and I was like, I'm there, Dad. Take me there. I want to go to UCF.
That's awesome. Let's see. Did you attend on an athletic scholarship, or were you like a walk-on? I assume it was an athletic scholarship based on the way you're explaining it, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. It can be very expensive for an international to go to the States abroad. School is a lot of money over here, and if you don't have that full scholarship, it'll definitely set either you or your parents back a few $1,000. So
sure, definitely. I mean, even just an out-of-state student is expensive. I can't even imagine what the cost for an international student is. So.
Exactly, it's pretty hefty. So a general rule of thumb with internationals is you're either rich or you're there on a full scholarship, and we were on a full scholarship.
You say we. Was there somebody that came with you, or was it
Just me, but I'm talking on behalf of my family because
That's
my
fair. Yeah.
my family are here with me in my heart.
Yeah, there you go. That's fair. That makes sense. I just was curious.
Yeah.
So most athletes, like football, hockey, basketball, soccer, even tennis players, usually start in their childhood.
Right.
When did you start running competitively, and when did you know it was something that you wanted to do for like college? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah, of course. So my dad was actually a track and field coach. He coached my older sister, Jessica, who is a few years older than me. And it's kind of, you see what your siblings are doing, you want to copy them. And I saw her doing all the running stuff. I saw her doing the track, and I wanted to follow suit. We were a very sporty family. I did a lot of like kind of different sports growing up, but track was the one that ultimately stuck. It was easy. My dad was there, and I turned out to be pretty good at it. And it was also pretty much free. So my parents were very happy when I picked the financially
Yeah.
stable one.
That definitely helps.
Yeah, it was great.
When you graduated high school, did you know that you wanted to pursue a degree in kinesiology and exercise science, or was that something you decided after you got to UCF?
Yeah, so I did exercise science honestly just to help me with my sport. I thought understanding the nutrition, the biometrics, the anatomy behind what makes an athlete great would help me when I was on the track. England school works a little bit differently. You do kind of hone in on a subject when you're quite young. For me, it was around 15, 16, and then you ride with that path. So I did it from a pretty young age. I loved it. I wanted to stick with it, like I said, just to help my sport, see what I could do.
Sorry.
No, you good. Do you want me to start that bit again?
No, it's okay. I turned it on Do Not Disturb, but my family comes through, and they all know I'm recording my podcast tonight, but yet they call anyway. So I apologize for that. Keep going. You're good.
That's absolutely fine. So it was pretty much just to help my sport, and then I just ended up loving it. So I stuck with it, and then when I went to college, it was pretty much the only thing I knew. I was really good at it, so I just continued to ride with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're gonna skip a couple questions and go down to, if you could go back in time before you started your time at UCF and give yourself one piece of advice to help make that experience even better, what would it be?
Yeah, see, I think about this honestly more than I should. Like, what would I tell myself when I kind of first went in? And it's all pretty much just how to make the most of it. Try a little harder. I was definitely someone who I just loved the sport. I loved having fun. But there was times where there was just the little things that I wouldn't do. And I look back now, and I don't want to look back in a negative way, but I'm just like, if I just would have done this, and if I just would have slept more, and if I just would have eaten better, I could have done this. I don't want to look back on that in an unhealthy way, but it would just be to make the most of absolutely everything that you get given. As a D1 athlete, you are honestly put on a pedestal with your school, and the amount of things that you get given and just everything that they do to help you improve and to develop as an athlete is just amazing, especially at UCF. And I just really wish I kind of would have utilized those a little bit more. So that's one thing I would definitely tell myself and anyone starting Division 1 sports and going in as a freshman. Use absolutely everything you can because it's free, it's there, and it's only going to make you better.
That's really good advice for sure, especially to the incoming freshmen who are, starting out and may not know that yet. Now, a question that I did not prep you for, I do apologize. Were you in college during the NIL time, or were you graduated by the time NIL became a thing? Because I know it's fairly recent, so it's kind of hit or miss on whether or not you were around for that.
Yeah, so NIL was kind of like half and half for me. I came in and it was definitely not a thing. We would have compliance meetings about it, like do not accept any sort of payment from anyone. You will be ineligible. It was like a huge red X, like do not do this. We were very prepped through that the whole of my first few years in college. It did make a very quick change, I will say. It was like 1 year it was no. And then it was like the month after it was like, go make money. The unfortunate thing about being an international is we do have different rules. We're not allowed to kind of capitalize on NIL just yet. Just because we are on an F1 visa, which is a student visa, so it doesn't allow us to so it doesn't allow us to make money. So if we did make money, then we would be kind of,
you'd be considered like a professional athlete, and you
exactly,
yeah.
and then we wouldn't be on a student visa. Now, the only way you can get around that as an international is you can go back to your home country, you can sign a contract on your home soil, get the money, and then go back to America. So there's always loopholes around it. College are always finding ways to pay the athletes, which I think is a really great addition to NCAA right now. But I just truly wasn't around long enough to capitalize on it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
It's such a big topic in college sports these days that everybody that I interview on the podcast who has anything to do with college sports, I'm going to ask them about it because I want to know what they think. You know, there's so many varying opinions of NIL, and as a college athlete, like you stated, you had your first few years where it was like compliance meetings, do not accept any money, like not even $1, not even 50 cents from someone because you could become ineligible. And then within a matter of like months, it was like flip of a switch and hey, take all the money you want, just make sure you're doing it right. So I'm always curious what other people think of that, like as a fan, because I never played college sports, so as a fan I have my opinions on it, and I think it's a really great addition to the sport. I think it needs to be governed a little better, which I think a lot of college athletes might agree with. I don't know if that's something that you agree with.
Yeah, I mean, it's so new and it's changing so much and every day. It definitely does need to be, kind of looked in on better. Athletes also need to just be educated on it a little bit better.
Yes, I agree.
But huge shout out to Paul. He was my compliance advisor from UCF. He was great. He was the one that red X'd me, and he was the one that would kind of help me, talk me through a lot of stuff that we were and we're not allowed to do. So when you have people like that in your support system, you'll do absolutely fine. But everyone has a different story with NIL, which is what I think is shaping Division I athletics and just NCAA to be something absolutely huge that I don't even think we're ready to see yet.
Yeah, I don't think that people are ready for what's going to come because of what NIL has started. So
absolutely.
I mean, you look at, like, for example, like I'm a Tennessee Volunteers fan, right? So I don't know how much you know about that, but I'm just going to throw this out there. So like this season we had what people are calling the very first college transfer, which is not, and by transfer I mean like not transfer from school to school, but like exchange of two players to two different schools. So like Nico Iamaleava went from, which is the quarterback at Tennessee, went to the UCLA Bruins. Joey Aguilar, who had signed at UCLA to be their starting quarterback, was no longer going to be the starting quarterback, so he went into the transfer portal and ended up at Tennessee.
Right.
So we look at, like, we have now our very first, like, transfer of players from one school to another. How common is that going to become? How often are we going to see that? Is that going to become part of deals? You know what I mean? Like, it's constantly growing into a thing that, like, I don't think anybody's expected or prepared for.
I know.
So,
and it is just such a quick process that is changing every single day. So I'm happy that I was an athlete, honestly, when I was, because I don't think I'm even ready for what's to come with those guys.
Ask you that, so I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into what you're doing now, because like track and field and cross country was like a big part of your college time. But let's talk about what you're doing now. Now you work for the Orlando Valkyries.
Yes.
And you're the manager of game day operations and community relations. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Now, what I want people to know about Charlotte is that when I met her at the beginning of 2025, she was only an intern at the Orlando Valkyries. Charlotte has quickly risen from an intern with the Orlando Valkyries, an intern doing game day operations. So you were doing what you're doing now, but as an intern, right? But you were in charge of like the game day staff, and that's how we met. I was the mascot handler this season, so I'm part of the game day staff, and so that's how we met. But very quickly, so let's go from in September of 2024, you started as the community relations and foundations intern for the Orlando Valkyries. And by July 2025, you're now the manager of game day operations and community relationships with a championship already under your belt. How's that feel?
It's just absolutely surreal. When we won that championship and everything just kind of came together at the end, it was just the icing on the cake for just a lot of our staff members. It was a tough season just because we were all so new to the sport. It was pretty much everyone's first season with the Orlando Valkyries in some aspect. So we didn't truly know what we were in for. And it moves at such a quick pace. Like we have 14 home games a season, and this is a production. This is in its bare bones, it's entertainment. And we want to put on something that the fans are going to love, the fans are going to come back for, and we want to do something that brings women's sport a lot of justice, because it deserves to be put on a pedestal. So when we won that championship at the end of the season, it was just everything we wanted and more, and it just really kind of justified everything that we were doing. And it just really, I believe, kickstarted the Orlando Valkyries into something special, and something that is a force to be reckoned with in Orlando.
I totally agree. And right on the heels of the Orlando Pride winning their championship. So women's sports in Orlando is just on the rise and doing great things.
Yeah.
But we talk about you winning a championship in your very first year. And like, I know people who work in sports for 10 plus years and still do not have a championship under their belt. And you come in, and not only are you an intern, a matter of months later, you're the manager, you have a championship. That's just really awesome. And it speaks to this, not just the players and the coaching staff, but the front office staff. I've had the pleasure of meeting quite a bit of the front office staff, from the owner to, you know, just the ticket sales director. Shout out Tim. And let's see what else. Partnerships. Let's shout out Sarah. Like I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of these people, and it speaks volumes with what they've done with that staff. Now, what people don't really know is there has been a lot of overhaul in that staff in the last matter of like 6-7 months. A lot of promotions, a lot of people leaving, but like, they've recognized what let's say the team needs, and they're making sure that they get that, from the front office to the coaching staff to the players, like a whole 360 of what everybody needs. They're making sure that they get it, and you being promoted to manager, it just is the perfect example of that. And I think all my other game day staff coworkers could speak to that as well. Like, we loved working for you. I'm looking forward to the upcoming season and doing this again, even though it's a 40-minute drive from my house. I drive 40 minutes there and then 40 minutes back at the end of the night, late at night. But like, I look forward to it because I have an awesome boss who I've become friends with. I love the front office staff. The coaching staff is amazing. The players treat us very well, even though we're just game day staff members and we're like little Peabodys. You know what I mean? Like, we're nobodies in the grand scheme of things. But the players even treat us with respect and kindness. The mascot, shout out, you know who. She's amazing. She treats everybody with kindness and respect. The whole crew is just awesome.
Thank you.
You are a perfect fit for that manager spot, and I just want to say congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for doing this. So let's talk about what goes into creating a professional volleyball game day. Now, I'm going to leave this kind of open-ended because a lot goes into it. Like, people don't realize, I think, how much goes into it. So I'm going to let you pick like 3 or 4 things that you want to talk about, and you just tell me all about them.
I mean, where do I even begin? I think you kind of touched on it, but we're a pretty small front office staff. We make up right now about 5 people. We are looking to add a couple more on. So there is truly no one individual that does anything within the Orlando Valkyries. We are all truly a team effort, and just to have a support system like the people that I work with just makes the game days pretty much what they are. You've got to be very flexible, and you've got to be okay with being uncomfortable, especially when you're in the heat of the season. You can plan, and you can script, and you can write down, and you can post-it note, which I do absolutely everything. But I promise you, when you hit that first game, post-it notes off the table. Like, everything's on fire. You're just running around, and it's chaos, but it's the best kind of chaos. You've just got to go with what's given to you. And I think that's kind of how you succeed in live production. It's how you succeed in entertainment, in sports, in absolutely anything that you do that involves that live element. You've just got to roll with whatever's thrown at you, because it's changing constantly. There's so many things happening. And it settles down kind of mid-season, and you kind of get into the swing of things, but nothing can prepare you for that first game. So if I'm giving any advice to anyone who's wanting to go into game operations or just into a sports team in general, it's be okay with being uncomfortable. But also, it is the most rewarding thing you will ever do, especially when you take home a championship.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, even just as a game day staff person, I worked my first season, and I technically also have a championship under my belt.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
You
I got to
claim that
celebrate with
too.
you guys
Yeah.
at City Hall. It was awesome. I'm gonna throw
Yes.
some pictures from City Hall celebration in there so that
Yeah.
people can see what we did. It was
Please
really
do.
cool. You guys put on a really good thing with the city of Orlando and the mayor.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you kind of a similar question that I asked about UCF, but this time about the Valkyries. And
Right.
it's if you could go back in time before you started with the Valkyries and give yourself one piece of advice to help make that experience even better,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I would say just be organized, and it's okay if you go in on that first day and you do not know what's going on. And I think that kind of goes for any new job that you go into. It takes a while to learn the ropes, and it takes a while to make a department or a section or anything your own. And I think that's kind of what I struggled with a lot at first, was just going in and being like, well, I have to do it this way because this is the way that it's been done. But that might not necessarily work for me, and that's absolutely okay. Just alter it, just change it, just make it what's best for the team that you have right now. So if I was to go back and give myself any sort of advice, it would be, it's okay. Like, you're fine. You're going to get the hang of it. Don't stress. Just make it your own and just have fun while you're doing it.
I think another thing we could say that I've seen you do a lot, and not as a bad thing, but rely on your teammates, right?
Yes.
Like, you can't do the job by yourself.
Absolutely.
I countless times you've called in game day staff members, Tim, Sarah, the other ticket guy whose name I can never remember.
Otto.
Otto, that's right.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, buddy. But you call on them to help you in moments where you're spread too thin, because really on game day, like, everything runs through you. And so relying on your teammates is such a big thing and a big part of that as well, because you do have to have a good team behind you to have a successful game day operations, because everything's going through you. You can't really do it all by yourself.
Exactly, yeah, and just having those people that you know you can rely on is amazing. And I know you kind of again touched on the fact that game day staff are a small piece of the puzzle. I think you're an absolutely huge piece. I say that to all you guys all the time. I make sure I put it in the WhatsApp group chat.
You do.
Which is where we communicate that there is truly no small part of the Orlando Valkyries, whether you're Brittany Abercrombie
right.
or your Tear. Everyone plays a part, and they are so important, and everyone works hand in hand. And that's why we can give the fans the best production that we possibly can. It's how we can share this great product and women's sports with the world. So I'm so grateful that I can kind of have that staff that I can rely on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So captain, we're gonna go back to UCF for just a second, but it kind of ties in with the Valkyries. So we have two questions here. The first one is captain of the UCF middle distance and cross country team.
Yeah.
First off, that's really impressive. You did that for I think 4 years, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really impressive. How do you think your time as captain prepared you for the leadership role you're now in with the Orlando Valkyries?
Yeah, I think a lot of track and field, my general rule of thumb was that if you're not having fun with it, you're not performing well on the day. And I think that goes for a lot of athletes. If you don't love what you're doing, if you don't show up every day with a smile on your face, ready to go, you are not going to give your best performance, no matter how talented of an athlete, of a worker, of a person you are. You have to have fun with it. And I think at the end of the day, what we're doing is fun. What we're doing is something that's amazing to be shared with so many people. And that's kind of like how I like my manager style to be, and my leadership style is just have fun with it. This is just truly just an amazing product, and I want everyone to enjoy the process of it, just as much as the fans are enjoying the process of the game. Make sure that everyone's on the same page, and then if you've got that, then you've got a great team. And I kind of like to run both kind of similarly.
Awesome. Pretty good way to run things, if you ask me. As somebody who's worked for you, I can say that confidently. So
thank you.
Yeah, of course. So back to UCF, I do have two more questions that I totally missed earlier, and I do apologize for that. What is your favorite memory from your track and field cross country days at UCF?
Two come to mind. One of them is pretty much the obvious. It was the first time that we won our conference championship. I came into UCF and our team was a little subpar, to say the least. We weren't a very great team at first. We were kind of bottom of the conference, and then 3 years in, something clicked. Everyone started winning, and we lifted that conference championship trophy up high and proud. And that's something that every athlete absolutely dreams of, is to win the conference with their team. So that was one of my favorite memories. My other one was one of my first cross country meets. It was on my birthday. It was in Gainesville, I believe. And after the race, my Coach Jackson, shameless plug, one of best people I've ever known, best coaches. He said, "Charlotte, where do you want to go for breakfast? It's your birthday, like this is your day." And I said, "I want to go to IHOP." I had never been to IHOP before, and I was like, "Take me to IHOP." So we all went.
Try it.
I have to have those pancakes. I've heard great things. So we all went to IHOP, and we had like a little after cross country race breakfast meal, and it was just one of my favorite memories. And I feel like I can still feel those pumpkin spice pancakes today.
Pumpkin spice. Okay. So really quick, I want to share something with you that I've just thought of. So we had an exchange student my senior year of high school. Now you have to understand, it's not your typical exchange student. And the reason for that is that her mom was an exchange student with my mom's family when my mom was in high school.
Right.
So I've known Julia since she was a baby. They've come over multiple times prior to Julia coming for her senior year to do her exchange program.
Yeah.
But she ran cross country while she was here for our local high school. So
nice.
I think that if she had the opportunity, she would probably do it collegiately too, if she looked like looking back, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to shout out Julia and my other cross country, my family member there that did it, and just say, hey, hope you'll check this out and hear about what Charlotte went through and her experience. And you know, because I think that that's something that she wishes she had done, being she's from Holland.
Nice.
And so I think, but back then in 2012, it wasn't easy.
Huge. Yeah.
It wasn't as huge. It wasn't as common. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like it's not like when you did it, it was more something that, you know,
Definitely.
and she may have not had that opportunity, like the competitive running that she did here back in Holland, like you did in England, you know what I mean? So,
no,
but
absolutely.
I just thought about that, and I just want to shout her out really quick, because
shout out Julia.
Shout out Julia. You guys would be great friends, and you would get along very well, and you would love to run together. So, and then my last question for you today is going to be, what's your favorite award, medal, trophy, ring, or ribbon that you've ever won? And it can be from your collegiate or from with the Valkyries, either one.
Oh my goodness.
But you have to pick one.
I do have to pick one.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to say my freshman year, when I came third in the 800 at conference, I had the most diabolical track season of my whole entire life. It was very bad. It was a huge adjustment that I was kind of making from going from England to the United States. That's definitely not talked about enough, is kind of the mental toll that it takes on you, the physical. You think everything's good, you're happy, but something just doesn't click. It's a completely different regime that you're not used to. And I was having one of the worst seasons of my life. Started to pick up a little towards the end. And then by the time conference came, I was just like, okay, I've had a terrible season. I have nothing to lose. I'm going to lay it all out there. And as a freshman, I podiumed, which was one of my biggest achievements. No one was really expecting it based on the season that I had, but it was just the race that kind of gave me my confidence back and made me so excited to like tackle head on my sophomore season. So it was a huge moment for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need that picture because we're gonna add it in here. So
definitely
try to find that picture for me if you can. And
I've not changed a bit.
No, you really haven't. Like I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at some of your old Instagram photos to try to find some photos for the promotional stuff. And you really like your face is just like the exact same. Your hair is a little different, like it's a little darker than it was then.
Yes.
But your face is literally like you're the same human being.
I'm the same exact person. And it's a problem because I go to all these big events and everyone's like, who's this little fish in this big pond? And I'm like, I am 26, guys.
Do you get carded when you go to the bar?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I get carded.
I've never been carded a day in my life.
Oh my God, everywhere. It's a huge problem.
When I went out for my 21st birthday, my sister actually had the bartender card me, like had to ask the bartender to card me because no one had carded me, and we'd been to 3 other restaurants at this point, and they wanted a picture taken of me being carded.
Oh.
And so they had to ask the bartender to card me. I've
That's
never
a good
been
family.
carded in my life. So
that's a good family right there.
I can't relate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm the opposite way. No one will let me anywhere.
I mean, you do certain times you can look like you're 12 years old. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So.
I definitely can, and that's what I mean. That's a problem sometimes.
Yeah, it is a problem.
It's tough. Like when you go into, especially as we talked about, like manager positions, and you go into a room and you kind of trying to prove yourself as to be someone who's, you know, pretty important to a professional sports team, and you go and you do look quite young. People are just like, wait a minute. But then I talk and I feel like I prove myself.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But before we do, I am going to be having Coach Amy Pauley on the podcast in, I don't know how many weeks. We're still working out the kinks and getting some things done. But because of that, I want to go ahead and have you share when tickets go on sale for the upcoming season, if you know the answer to that.
Yeah.
And where people can buy them, any information you can offer about the season. Let's try to fill those stands at Edition Financial Arena this season. So Any information you can offer, go ahead.
Yeah, so we play at UCF at the Edition Financial Arena. We'd love you guys to come in, pack the house, show us your support. Season tickets are on sale right now. You can go to the Orlando Valkyries website or through Ticketmaster to purchase season tickets. We've recently come out with a 4-pack, which is any 4 games, including our home opener. You can choose any of the other 3. Our schedule, I wish I could give you guys like a little sneak peek, but our schedule, unfortunately, will come out sometime. We're hoping October. We're still waiting for a few teams and a few stadiums to give us some dates. But when that schedule goes out, you will be the first to know.
Awesome. I love to hear it. I think Coach Amy's podcast is going to be releasing in October. So we may have that information by the time I have Coach Amy on. So we'll see. Yeah. But once you get it, and you're allowed to release it, just send it to me and I will get it posted on our website. On our Instagram, and I'll share it in that whatever week podcast we're in that week. So
that would be
Charlotte,
great.
I really appreciate you doing this.
Of course.
We have talked about this for probably almost a year now.
So long.
And I am so thankful that you came on and were my first guest. I wouldn't have anybody else. You've been so supportive of this idea. So thank you so much. You were a great guest.
Thank you.
I hope to have you back on in the future as we continue down and do more episodes.
Absolutely. So, when we win our second championship, I'll be back.
There you go. We'll pencil that in. Once we have the schedule and we know when championship is,
there we
I'm
go.
Go ahead and pencil in a podcast episode. Win or
you
lose,
heard it here first.
Maybe we can get Val to do a guest appearance on the podcast.
You know she would love that.
She can't talk to us, but maybe she'll come sit with us and listen to us. And,
she'll be best dressed.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. She wouldn't miss a beat with that.
No.
So, all right, thank you again, and everybody, subscribe to our YouTube, follow our Instagram. We're also on X, and stay tuned for teasers of next week's podcast with Willie Tillman, coach of the Melbourne Central Catholic Hustlers. He also played college football at Purdue, so stay tuned for that as well.